Please be seated. This is the matter of Clarence Moriwaki versus Richard Rynearson, cause number 12-17. I have had a chance to review the request for the protection order and have read your petition in full and all the attachments. I do have some questions for you, so if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your full name for the record, please.
Clarence Ben Moriwaki.
All right, and how do you know the respondent that's named in this petition?
I don't know him personally. He started posting on my Facebook page several months ago and started commenting also on the page I manage, the Bainbridge Island Japanese American Exclusion Memorial Facebook page.
Okay, and you don't have to speak into this. You can just, it'll pick you up.
Okay.
It's just for our recording system.
Sure.
Okay, and so you've never met him in person?
I have seen him. He has come by on occasion. He came to the memorial site on February 19th, and I have seen him on the street. He did visit the Bainbridge Island Japanese American Community Mochizuki Festival on January, I think it was 8th or 9th. But I saw him only in passing. I just recognized him because of his Facebook page.
Okay, did you have any conversation in person at that time?
Just nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Okay. And so had he been visiting these places in the past, or is this a new thing that you're aware of? Did he come to the Moki Festival?
He's only been on the island, as I understand it, since fall of last year, so it's not possible for him to come before that.
Oh, okay. So from fall of 2016?
That's correct.
Okay. And how did you find that out?
From the police report.
And the police report, you didn't attach that, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did. I thought I sent a link, but it is on file.
Okay, and what did it exactly say in the police report?
It just mentioned that he had arrived to the island, whatever date it was, or
the officers or detective figured that out by talking to him, or
Officer Lewis. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and
I think also on his own Facebook page it said admission he's new to the island.
Okay. All right, and so tell me about the Facebook pages that you have.
My own page.
Okay, and is it a public page?
Well, the public can see it.
Okay, so it's an open page, and your personal page is an open page?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I allow my posts to be seen, but it is closed in that I only have friends. I sign on friends. And
did he try to friend you on Facebook?
Yes, I did friend him.
Okay, because that's sort of your practice, is friending whoever is interested in being friends on Facebook, if you will.
Right, and he appeared to have some shared interest in Japanese American history, so I thought that was fine.
Okay, so he was a friend on your personal page for a period of time, from when to when?
Oh boy, I would say late last year until February. I think it was 4th when I finally blocked him.
Okay. And then you also run another page?
We have a Facebook page for the Memorial Association that I mentioned, Bainbridge Island Japanese American Exclusion Memorial.
And this page is, do you have to friend people to allow them to post on the page?
People can like it on their own.
Okay, so he liked the page.
Yes, he did.
And then was he also able to post on the page?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Okay, and so as I was going through this paperwork, something that was a little bit unclear to me was what of this was occurring on your personal page versus what was occurring on the Japanese Memorial page.
All of these items that are in the testimony are on my own personal page.
Okay.
There was just so much that I tried to focus just on my own page. And on my statement, I do have a minor correction, just so we keep the dates straight. On the second page, near the bottom, the paragraph starting in 14 hours, it's next to the bottom.
Which page is this?
It's this statement I wrote.
Oh, okay.
Attachment. And on the second page, near the bottom, the second to last paragraph, it in 14 hours, Rynearson Lee published a Facebook page.
Okay.
It was actually February 6th, not the 5th.
Okay.
Just so it keeps that correct.
Do we have the original in here? I just have a working copy. Oh, I'm sitting on it here. Okay. So what I'll have you do is just correct that.
I just pushed a little line to make the 5 look like a 6 on my own, but that's
Okay. All right. So I just crossed that out and put
right.
February 6th
Okay,
on that. All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so you blocked him on the 4th,
Yes.
and then or within you said in 14 hours.
Yeah, I blocked him on the 5th.
5th. Okay.
And there's so many attachments, but the attachment that is, let's see, dated February 5th, 2017, page 1. Those are all private messages from my Facebook page between Mr. Lee or Mr. Rynearson. He identifies on this page as Richard Lee. And you can see the date at the top, February 5th, 5:30. Very faint printing on the upper left corner of the first text message. And so
Which
this is
page are we on?
the one I wrote called February 5th, 2017, page 1. I wrote it in the upper corner. It's an attachment that looks like this.
Okay.
And the reason why I was doing this, he was blogging my page so much, and in terms, you are familiar with how Facebook works, of course, and he's posting comments on my page, and I keep removing them. And when people can see your conversations on the page, everybody who's on my Facebook feed can read it, and it was just getting tiresome. And so I took him offline, it was as it were, to talk to him privately on my private message. So we're going back and forth. So this time, I'm having conversations with him because he's constantly putting more and more posts on my page. As I mentioned, as soon as I put one up, he'd put 2 up. It was whack-a-mole. It was constant. And so you can see the conversation. I keep telling him, stop it, knock it off. You continue to do this. Then it got to be incredible. It was like 3, 4, 5 at a time. So finally, that's when I told him, we are done. And then he says, no, we are not done. And so at this point, it was about 6 o'clock or so. And then, maybe a little after 6 o'clock, and then the next page, our next exhibit, I entitled February 5th, 2017, page 2. It looks like this. You can see, this is now my text message. The material on the left is my to my phone. These are screenshots of my phone text message.
And he somehow got your phone number?
Well, yeah, it's on my Facebook page.
Your cell phone number is on
Yes.
your Facebook page?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he got your cell phone number, and then he texted
He could have got it there.
your
He's
cell-
been trolling me a lot. I use it on news releases. It's also on my LinkedIn page. So
Your
my phone number
phone number is?
is
Okay.
pretty accessible.
Okay.
So right there, it's about a minute after I said we're done. You can see this is about dated 6:06, and this message came up. He does not identify. It's an unknown number. You can see that he has now created a domain name, registered with GoDaddy, my name, BainbridgeIsland.com, and he writes this. And then I had to ask him to identify himself. He finally did. As I said in the statement, yeah, this isn't trolling or harassment, Richard. Your obsession's getting disturbing. Right, and so I had to block him on my text message, too. I blocked him from contacting my phone. And then the image on the right, that is the new page he created.
And
called-
that's on that domain name?
No.
Is that a Facebook
no.
page? That's a
The
Facebook
domain name was something he just registered.
But he hasn't put anything up on it?
Not on that,
Okay.
to my knowledge. Then to the right is the Facebook page he put up the following morning. And if you cannot, he really can barely make it out, but in the post, I actually have another copy that's easier to see. It looks like this. This is the original page, the text underneath it, but it is dated February 6th, 8:28 a.m. So this is 14 hours later. He must have stayed up all night to make this page. deliberately attacking me. It's obviously my name, my image, tons of memes that connect me to Nazis, lots of other stuff. And he was finally called out a few days later, a week or so later, by our own state senator, saying you're assuming the identity of a constituent. And so he changed the page name to not Clarence Moriwaki of Bainbridge Island.
Okay.
So
is it still up?
Yes, it is.
Has Facebook been notified?
Facebook has been notified about 40 times to my count. Many of my friends have done that. They have not pulled it down. It says it did not violate their community standards. I have challenged him on that, saying I am the person of which this is named after. Facebook has not replied to me. I've told them that he's under investigation, that our Bainbridge Island Police Department has recommended a charge of cyberstalking with the prosecutor, and that I was seeking a protection order. And Facebook has been mute now for a week. They usually reply right away, and they haven't, so I don't know. I do like to draw your attention that on January 29th, this text right here, that looks like this. This is also private messaging from Facebook, and I'm having a discussion with him. I'm telling him I'm getting tired of him posting on my page. He is now dominating conversation. I point out to him that he's doubling down on his posts. I told him that I don't. Well, I went on. How did I write it? Said, I said, you've crossed a line. You are not conversing but trolling. You've demonstrated it over and over. Stop the bullying and attempts to hijack my party along with being insulted and offended. You don't get to define when I feel harassed. And that was January 27th. And then that was on Facebook. And then 29th, this is the private messages I had with him following up on those same comments. So I was trying to draw a line telling him this is enough. I'm tired of you constantly trolling me. And I have to also point out it was constant. Some of the feeds would come in 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and they would ping on my phone. So I finally learned I finally had to do not disturb on my phone, which was difficult because my girlfriend, who's in Seattle, she would sometimes ping late, but I couldn't get any sleep. He was constantly doing this. As I mentioned in my statement, the unfortunate part is when you remove a post on your page, it's gone forever. You can't get it. But I did manage to, he did manage to keep, you tag a person, he would tag me, so therefore those screen messages, those messages on your wall are saved because they're notifications to you. And so I included that in the packet of just an example of 1 hour where he must have done it at least a dozen times in an hour, but about 6 or 7 of them were saved because he put my name on it. And you can see that they're pretty repetitive within themselves. It's just an example of, and that was just a typical hour. Some days he'd do it for hours at a time, posting to my page.
Now, what is the relation between him and this Bonnie McBrien who forwarded you this post about him saying he was in front of your house?
So after I blocked him on the, what day was that, the 5th?
This is on February 7th.
Yeah.
Dated.
So after I blocked him on the 6th and he started his page, he started going to other people's pages, and Bonnie was not even a Facebook friend of mine at that time, but there was lots of different comments about issues that he would hijack.
How did he know that this person knew you? Or?
He didn't. It didn't matter. He didn't know.
Does she know you? Or
now we do.
Oh, but you only know her because of this comment? So
yeah, well, yeah.
And so you didn't know her before?
I did not. And there were other.
She lived here on the island?
Yes, she does. She is the manager of the Inn at Eagle Harbor down at the end of Madison Avenue. I started getting messages from people saying, Clarence, you're getting attacked on these pages. Now I was away, I was out, and so I started getting these messages that someone's really jumping on my page, ragging you, attacking you. Bonnie was one of those people. There were other people, Laura Jones and Houston Wade. He was obviously upset that I blocked him, and so now he was jumping on other people's pages, starting to defame me and starting to attack me.
And these are just their private pages?
Yeah, these are private Facebook pages.
Open? So
I guess so. They must have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so she found you.
Yeah, well, she
sent you this.
She messaged me and said this has got to be happening. And then I he said he was outside my house trolling, and I said, well, you got to be. I mean, really, I hope he's metaphorical. And she says, no, he actually said he's doing it. And she, according to the police report I read, they interviewed her, and she said she physically saw him outside my place, which freaked me out. I wasn't home at the time. I was shopping.
Did he actually go to your place? Do you know?
That's what she said. I wasn't there.
But she only knows what he said he was doing. She's not your neighbor or anything.
Well, according to the interview that she had with Officer Lewis, she said that she saw him outside my place, as well as him confirming through messages that he actually was outside my place.
Well, if she doesn't know you, how does she know where you live and what your place? I'm confused.
I don't know how she. Well, my address is there. She knows. You can tell where I live by the pictures I post. I take pictures. I live at Winslow Green, which is above Bainbridge Bakers.
Oh,
So I take screenshots. You know, when we had snow, I actually say that I'm taking pictures from my condo at Winslow Green.
Okay.
So that's what she said. But she said in her text that he actually was out. He confirmed. Mr. Rynearson confirmed to her that he was actually outside.
But outside your house is a
Yes.
public place where there's stores and
That's
a
true.
bakery and things like that. Okay. Is the bakery still open
Sure.
there?
Yeah.
Is it? I for some reason I haven't.
Yeah,
been there in a while.
it's been under new management for a year or so.
Okay.
Right.
And this was at what time?
Whenever the text message was with her. So that would be.
This one starts at 9:13 in the morning. But I don't know what time the other one.
I can-
isn't.
If you just indulge me for a second, I can.
Well, it looks like one of them says 2:06.
That sounds right. It sounds like the afternoon. Yeah.
I just posted my response and am allowing time for it to be read. Then I will delete the thread. Richard announced he is outside your house.
Mm-hmm.
But your house is a condo.
Condo, yeah.
At the Winslow Green.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's possible that he found himself outside your house and was aware of where you lived because of you've been very public about it.
And he knew where I lived because when we had that snow a few months ago, I took a picture of it, and then a few moments later, he posted onto my wall a picture of basically the same scene. So he, from the angle of where obviously you take my shot, he knew where I lived because he posted immediately after that him walking his ferret or whatever it was.
Okay, in front of the Winslow Green?
Yeah, a little while after that. That
Did you find that troubling?
No, I just thought he might have just been happening to walk out and be walking in the snow at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
But it indicated he had a clear idea exactly where I lived.
do you know where he lives?
I do now.
Is that near you?
Around the corner.
How far away?
A block, I guess.
It's that close? This
Yeah.
Shepherd Way is a
Yeah.
block away?
Roughly a block away, I'd say. Up, you go up Grow, probably another block.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's up that way? Okay.
I'm on Madison, on the corner of the Madison and Winslow Way, and then you go to Grow, and about a block up is Shepherd.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so did it said in here that he was talking to some of his guests, our mutual neighbors, as they leave his house. Did you ever find out if he was actually there speaking with people?
Again, I was not home.
You never heard after the fact or anything?
No, I was. No, I didn't. No. And it was a metaphoric thing from another Facebook post.
What do you mean metaphoric?
Well, I had posted and I can happily share that with you, but it was a post from years ago about people at a cocktail party, and I just simply said Facebook's like a cocktail party. You walk around, some conversations are interesting, you can walk by and listen to some, and if you find some too controversial, you can walk on by, you know. And he, instead of, and I said, so come up with a nice caption, and his caption was all back to this National Defense Authorization Act thing. That I go, what's that got to do with this? What's your problem, man? And so I said, Facebook's that party, and dude, you know, my Facebook page is like my party. I'm the host, and friends are welcome to be there. But if a guest gets too out of hand or he makes other guests feel uncomfortable, it's my right as a host to ask that guest to quiet down, cease or desist, or if they get out of line, I can ask them to leave the party. And he kept saying, this is a public forum. I go, no, a Facebook page is not a public forum. It is not a public forum. It's my page. And you can defriend, you can block, you have that right to do that. Trying to explain that to him was, I am censoring him, and I said, I'm not censoring you. You don't have a right to do that. People block friends all the time. In the last couple of years, especially this last campaign, there's been people losing relationships because of how they felt about the political candidates. But that's not censorship. That's just your choice.
Well, and so when he was blocked from your personal page, did he go over and start posting anything on the memorial page?
No, I didn't see anything there. He was too busy making up his new Facebook page.
Okay.
And I monitor that carefully. And he's also been, as I pointed out, he has been spending time cyberstalking me around the area. Anytime there's an article or something that mentions me, he will go on those pages. I put an example of that. There was a newspaper article from the end of January in the Peninsula Daily News where I spoke up there as a guest to the Peninsula College. And there was a comment section and people were having a lot of misinformation, so I posted a comment earlier this month about, you know, you're welcome to find out more information to a link to an article I'd written. And then you can see I attached it. He went and blogged it, or went and started tagging me. And the only reason I found that out was that the Peninsula Daily News gave me a hit saying someone replied to a comment that you wrote. And that article, there's that article plus another article about the incarceration that has been picked up. It was written by the Washington Newspaper Publishers Association, and it was picked up by member newspapers. And I've gone to those newspapers where that article has been published, and there's Richard Lee Rynearson commenting. So he's trolling, he's looking for me, he's trying to harass me in any possible way he can, as far as he can. And it's been very frustrating, and actually it's increased a lot of my anxiety. Not finally when I blocked him, I got a little relief because I wasn't getting pinged all the time. But now this page is out there, and it's out there all the time. There's relief that he's blocked. I don't get direct messages. But with that page out there, it's a 24/7 harassment. He posts something almost every day, sometimes hourly.
What kinds of things has he posted on? Because you haven't included that.
No, there was just again, there was just so much stuff. I just gave you examples of the page. You can go to it. It is an open Facebook page, and you can scroll on it.
Well, I'm not allowed to do any research, so I have to just see what you have.
I will tell you what is on there, and I'd be happy to get the screenshots. He has connected me to Nazis. The new masthead has me next to barbed wire, which I find incredibly offensive, considering what happened to Japanese Americans during World War II. He defames my character.
And defames your character how?
I am a censor. I'm intolerant. And his whole point, his whole screed, and this has been going on for years with him, he is opposed to the National Defense Authorization Act, which is signed by President Obama. It allows actions, including drone strikes and things, without warrant. And the irony is, I agree with him on this issue. But he has said, because you supported President Obama, who signed this, I'm a bad person because I don't. I go, well, look, my girlfriend and I, or ex-girlfriend, we agree 99% of the time. I'm not going to break up just because she likes sappy movies. Your standard is incredible, and he'd do that. Plus, Jay Inslee was in Congress, and because I am supportive of these individuals, these political figures, somehow I'm not pure enough for him. So it's a really bullying tactic, and he has done. I'm not the only person. I'm just his latest victim. I included a text here, if I may. This Now that we're into this guy, I took a screenshot of this page called John Q. Public, and it was on August 26th. It looks like this. And if I can just read, because he says it's so much better than I am able to articulate this.
Well, I understand that you're kind of citing this, but I guess the relevant inquiry for the court here is how does his behavior make you feel?
Oh, God, I'm frightened.
What are you frightened that will happen or that he will do?
Well, he said that he was outside my place, that alone, and he knows that people have said that about him, so maybe he's not doing it. I don't know. The thing that is also difficult for me is what this does to my reputation as well as my own potential for clients and employment. If they Google this or they find this, that question has to be answered. And I just say I've got a cyber troll on me. But it's detrimental. It's one thing to have him stop. I've been able to block him on my page. He can't post. He can't come and text me on my phone. But he stepped over the line multiple times. That alone was cyberstalking. I set strong boundaries. I said, you've gone over the line. Stop this. Knock it off in the strongest terms. And he kept posting. He seemed to get joy out of it. It's like kind of sociopathic. So then he has this page. He can't let it go. That first message was, he went to the effort to go to GoDaddy and make a domain name, me, Clarence Moriwaki, BainbridgeIsland.com. So there's obviously some sort of intent to continue to harass me. And then putting up this page, which is clear harassment. It's named after me. He's attacking me, and it's up there constantly. And as long as it's up there, I don't have any rest because I know it's there. It's online harassment of the highest order. I don't know. I look at the definitions of cyberstalking. I don't know what other proof do you have to see that he's targeting me.
Yeah, the court's convinced that that there's sufficient evidence here to grant a temporary order under the stalking prong. Looking at the definition of that, it is clear that that he has engaged in the course of conduct involving repeated or continued contacts, attempt to contact, monitoring, tracking, keeping up to, under observation or following, and that he is would cause a reasonable person to feel intimidated, frightened, or threatened, and that he should know and that this behavior would threaten you, frighten you, or intimidate this person, and that under the cyber stalking, he is behaving in a way that has an intent to harass. I think it's clear by the nature of the timing and the other information that he has done these to retaliate against you, and that there's not so much of a First Amendment right here that I see it at this point. Of course, as a temporary order, he will be served a copy of the order, will have a full order hearing. He has a right to be at the hearing, come to court, say what he'd like to say, have the court consider that information. If there's additional information that you want to present at that hearing, I'll consider what you've put here, but if you want to present additional evidence, related to the pages and what he's saying on the pages, that would be relevant to the hearing. So at this time, the temporary order will indicate that he's not to have any contact with you whatsoever or through third parties, that he's not to surveil you, including electronic surveillance, that he's excluded from your residence and workplace. I'll indicate on here public events where the petitioner is present, so the expectation of the court would be that if he found himself at a public event where you were at, he would need to leave.
So if I understand, it's 14 days, Your Honor?
It's 14 days.
Can it be post-dated? I mean,
what do you mean?
I'm just saying today's the 13th. March 30th, which is 2 weeks and 4 days from now, is a big event for our community. It's the 75th anniversary of the first forced removal of Japanese Americans, and we have planned a day-long series of events on that day
Well, the court will make the decision at the hearing on the 27th whether or not a longer order will issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that. I just was hoping you could perhaps make the order effective the 16th, so the temporary order would already be in place, so that I don't have to have anywhere. We're having a ceremony at the site. I am the MC and the organizer.
Well, okay, but we have to have the hearing in 14 days, so that's the requirement. So if we have the hearing and he served the order and he doesn't show up, then I can grant you a longer order that would apply to the 30th. But if he isn't served or he comes to the hearing, we'll have the hearing, make a decision. You may have an order that is granted through the 30th, but I can't just grant the order for longer.
Oh, I see. You can't do 14 days. That's...
I have to just do it 14 days from today.
Okay, so it has to be awarded today. It cannot be posted or...
No.
Okay.
So the hearing will be the 27th.
Right.
So, and at that time, the court's going to make a decision one way or the other.
Okay.
For some reason, he's not served by the 20th.
Understood.
I can reissue it for another 14 days to give time to serve the order to him, but I can't just because you have you have this event going on, schedule it out a month or anything unless he's in agreement with that once he's served. So, sometimes people get attorneys and the attorneys ask for a continuance, and so we'll set it over for a longer period of time once the parties are both in agreement.
And the temporary order would still be continued until the hearing date?
Yes.
Okay.
So, that's a possibility, but otherwise we're just going to have a hearing that's going to be on the 27th.
Can your order extend to demand him take down his page, which is online harassment right now to me?
Yeah, the difficult thing sometimes is, people might want to put their legal arguments forward as to why that's not harassment or he has some sort of
it is not a
First
free
Amendment
speech
right
issue. I would just challenge that, Your Honor. I'm not a public figure. He claims that. I am not a publicly elected official. I've asked other attorneys on this point of view, and they all agree I'm not a sports celebrity. I'm not a person who's been thrust into the limelight of public thought. I do get interviewed for newspaper articles, but I was an elected official 20, 30 years ago. But to consider that as a reason for being a public figure is ludicrous. And it would have an incredibly chilling effect for anybody who ever wants to serve in public office. I'm just a person who is involved in a private nonprofit organization that just happens to have a big spotlight on it because of the 75th anniversary of this event in American history, and I'm a spokesperson for that. But I would totally argue against that. His contention that I am a public figure is totally not warranted. I am not that, and that's a very specious argument in my point of view.
I think what the court is able to do is to order him to remove the public web pages with the petitioner's name. I think to the extent that you post online and he posts a disagreement that is not threatening or harassing in nature, I think he's allowed to do so. I can't completely prohibit him from
he's going to make comments other places. My point is, as I've showed both examples, just by putting the word "not" in front of Clarence Moriwaki on Bainbridge Island does not mean that he's attacking me. That is my name. That's
why
me.
I indicated remove public web pages with petitioner's name.
Thank you.
So I would say that would qualify to the not Clarence Moriwaki, web page, as well as, it sounds like you need to investigate whether that he's using the domain name that he registered in your name and what he's putting on there, because at this point the court doesn't have any information about that.
As I looked at it yesterday, there was nothing. It's just a placeholder on GoDaddy, so fortunately there is no web page yet. Okay.
But if you were to place information on that, then that would clearly be a violation of the court's order here.
Thank you, yeah.
It sounds like he knows generally where you live, but not the specific
condo
number, so I'm not going to include that in the order. But do you want the order to be specific that you live the Winslow Green, and it's on the record now.
Sure.
So.
I mean, my address is on the record. Yeah.
Because you posted it in different places fully.
Yeah, it is. I believe it's on my LinkedIn profile, which he has linked to his page.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's this 155 Madison Avenue North?
Correct.
And what's the... But he doesn't know the condo number, or is that...
That is the number. They're all
They're all individually numbered?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct. Yeah.
It could be useful to have the address in here, since it is also a business location with various businesses. So I've indicated he has to stay don't come within 100 feet of your resident's workplace. Remove the public web pages with the petitioner's name. And at this point, I'm not ordering surrender of weapons because I don't think that there's any violent threats that have been made. I don't think that it meets the standard for the court to do so, but I'm just indicating why that is.
Understood. Would you make that clear? He tends to parse, so I think you should make it very clear that it is a Facebook page, because that may not be considered a web page.
Okay, web page / Facebook page. All right. So this is the temporary order. The next hearing date is going to be on March 27th at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And we do always have a police officer here, usually make an effort to keep the parties separated until we have the hearing. And you can bring whatever exhibits that you'd like to bring.
Very good.
Or witnesses if that's relevant to you. We'll give you some information that we give to everybody about kind of what to expect at a full order hearing. Any other questions at all?
No, I thank you for your time.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Right. Sure.